What was the moment you realized voice acting was going to be your thing?
One of my favorite lines from Indiana Jones is, I'm just making this up as I go.
Yeah.
And I started off in music. That was the way that I was going to go and make my way in the world. And then fate was like, no. So I ended up doing what I could to put a roof over my head and continue my passions. And oddly enough, that led to, hey, I can use my voice. We were cutting our album at this studio in Dallas that also did car commercials.
Right.
And so I went down the hall and just happened to be at the right place at the right time for them to give me a shot. And I started doing all these car spots. And I then did industrial reads. And then a friend of mine was like, hey, we're doing this game and we need a guy to be our guy. You're a guy. Can you come be our guy? So I went on the weekend and went to Gearbox Software, and they threw a mic cable over the ceiling tiles
Yeah.
from my buddy who was also the audio director and the composer, and Ed did everything. And we dropped like a AKG 414 or something into this computer room, turned off the AC,
You sweat it out in there.
put it out in the dark,
Yeah.
and recorded all of Brothers in Arms. And that was the first game that I did, and they paid me money for it. I was like, no way.
You're like, this can happen.
Yeah, and then I kept coming back, and they're like, we have more we have to do. I was like, geez, there's a lot of dialogue in this game. And that's 2001, 2002. And next thing you know, I'm getting an agent, and then she sends me to go audition for this pilot for CBS, and that went, and that led to me doing this indie film, and then that led to me doing this big miniseries that was on CBS called Comanche Moon, and that led to me meeting people that were out in LA, including, oddly enough, the late great Val Kilmer. He really took me under his wing. I stayed with Val for the first month that I lived in LA, and he was so kind. And one of the best lessons that I ever learned, he had this house in Malibu, and he was like, come hang out. I'll never forget, like the first night that I got there, he's out on the deck, and the sun had just gone down, and we're hanging out and talking, and we're sitting out overlooking the ocean, and the sun had just set behind the mountains enough where there was enough of that fleeting light to illuminate him, but not all the way. So he's just a silhouette. So he's no longer Val Kilmer. He's just Val. And I said, yeah, man, so there's some opportunities that are popping up in LA, but I'm just not sure if I want to make the move to be out here. And he goes, man, there's just some doors that when they open, to not walk through them is disrespectful. And that was really the push that I needed to go, give this a shot. He goes, you'll know within a year if you should be here. And that was almost 19 years ago.